When it comes to fraud, waste, and abuse, which the president talked about yesterday in a post dealing with Medicaid specifically, there are things that we can cut. There's a lot of abuse in the system.
Right. And Medicaid got way too big because Barack Obama made Obamacare and all those states got the free money.
Correct.
And now all of a sudden Medicaid doesn't look anything like it was supposed to. And it's 95% financed by the federal government. It's supposed to be a state program.
And the longer we leave it that way, the more permanent that becomes.
Right. Because people get addicted to the free money.
The depravity these people exhibit truly knows no limits. Now that Trump's disastrous bill that would extend his tax cuts for the ultra-wealthy while gutting vital social spending programs like Medicaid, SNAP, and other initiatives is heading to the Senate. These ghouls may finally get what they've been fighting for.
Social Security, another just obscenely broken program. What a complete fraudulent program Social Security is. They garnish all of our wages, then they spend all that none of it goes to Social Security. It's a complete and total looting of the productive class to supplement the unproductive class, to create total fealty to the Democrat Party, and to scare the life out of seniors every 4 years in elections. Social Security is completely fraudulent. It should be privatized. They should destroy that entire program.
You know, because Hakeem, this whole time talking about the big, beautiful bill, he was using talking points, right? These lies like Medicaid, we're going to cut millions and millions of Americans are going to lose their health insurance. I mean, it was just total lie.
Listen, while Social Security, Medicaid, SNAP, and other programs aren't perfect and should be reformed, that shouldn't detract from the life-saving services they provide. And giving them more funding would be a better solution than everything we're seeing right now in front of our eyes. Despite Medicaid's overwhelming popularity with American voters and how it serves as one of the only methods for some people to receive any health care in the country, Fox News, especially host Maria Bartiromo, made a concerted effort to manufacture consent for the cuts by interviewing Republican congresspeople to hammer their narrative home throughout the month of May.
We've got to get serious about rooting out waste, fraud, and abuse, and one of those areas would be to look at Medicaid. And again, like you said, when you have 6 in 10 individuals on Medicaid that are able-bodied, look, the original intent of Medicaid was to help those that were at risk, the infirm, single moms, et cetera, and now we have this population of people that could go to work and contribute to their care, and instead they're living off the government. That's not what the American people want. That's not what the American people intend.
If you take the entitlements away, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, food stamps, if you don't do anything to those entitlements, there's nothing left really to cut. You could cut all of the military spending and you don't get to balance, and nobody really is for cutting all the military spending. You have to look at entitlements, but both Republicans and Democrats have taken the entitlements off the table, and once you do that, the math doesn't add up. So what is really going to happen is the debt is going to go up $2 trillion this year and over $2 trillion the next year.
As tracked and reported by Media Matters, Bartiromo interviewed Representative Andy Ogles and Senator Rand Paul on the same day, with Paul going much further than Ogles in advocating for the cuts. And here's the thing. This notion, this talking point that these programs are entitlements could be further from the truth. A right to adequate food and health care is not a privilege. It should be a right. In fact, it is a basic human right to have quality food and have health care that is going to keep you alive and keep you protected from various things going on in the world. It's disgusting that they think these programs are built for people who believe they're entitled. I mean, what is wrong with you? No, absolutely not. These programs are not entitlements. Just basic human rights.
Different states have looked at Medicaid, differently, and are you going to treat them all fairly? Those states that did not expand Medicaid, rightly so, because they knew what was coming, are they going to be treated fairly? The ones that were fiscally responsible versus the ones that were fiscally irresponsible. And unfortunately for my colleagues from California and New York and Illinois, they are fiscally irresponsible states, and then somehow you're going now to punish the fiscally responsible states because of the fiscal irresponsibility of those states.
Just a day later, Florida Representative Carlos Jimenez had the nerve to say that states expanding their Medicaid programs, i.e. giving more people access to health care, is fiscally irresponsible. Healthcare funding should never be viewed as fiscally irresponsible, Representative. You know why? Because when you have more people on healthcare plans, right? They have access to it. That could lead to better care and early intervention, so it prevents the possibility of having to deal with very expensive treatments and hospitalizations later on in life. It also can lead to a better workforce in the country because people are healthier. And what happens when people are healthier? They're more productive with their jobs. So the economy is doing better, okay? Then also, it reduces social issues, right? When we talk about, or social costs, I should say, when we talk about homelessness and crime, those are functions of healthcare not being spread out to anybody and everybody. So this notion that it's fiscally irresponsible, I'm disgusted with it. Like, yes, it has financial, implications, but it's for the right reasons, and it's going to help the public.
There's probably another, $400 to $500 billion easy to get in Medicaid. We need to slow the growth of Medicaid. We need to preserve it and strengthen it for the people who need it the most. So there's certainly an opportunity to slow that increase in the spending in Medicaid.
Right. Well, that sounds great, and I love the idea that you can identify $2 trillion in cuts, but you've got colleagues that do not want to raise the debt ceiling, right?
Other committees get to spend money. We have to save money, and a lot of those savings come from various parts, but a lot of it comes from Medicaid reform. So we're being yelled at about taking away people's Medicaid. That's not really true. The reality is we rarely scratch the surface and can probably go a lot further, but our bill still came out to about $900 billion in savings. Look, I agree with Mr. Langford. If people are going to want more savings, we can find them. I mean, we didn't even get to what's called per capita caps on the expansion population. When it comes to Medicaid, now we're getting really wonky, but that could save a lot of money, and it's a very fair way to do this.
Now, in case you're still somehow not convinced that these people do not have your best interest in mind, just take a look at this.
The Palestinian cause is an evil one.
Does this shooting change anything when it comes to the course of the war or the negotiations to end it?
Well, I think it speaks to the importance of the only end of the conflict is complete and total surrender by those who support Muslim terror. In World War II, we did not negotiate a surrender with the Nazis. We did not negotiate a surrender with the Japanese. We nuked the Japanese twice in order to get unconditional surrender. That needs to be the same here. There is something deeply, deeply wrong with this culture, and it needs to be defeated.
They think Cash, Bongino, Bondi, Pirro, Alina Habba are afraid of what the media is going to say if they arrest a Democrat for breaking the law. You guys have no idea how much fun we're having. This is a dream come true.
I'm here to inform you that conservative politics has nothing to do with helping other people or making everyone's lives better, but rather about obtaining a feeling of superiority over anyone they perceive as the enemy. And we are seeing that constantly throughout this regime with Trump in office. It happens, it literally happens every day. That's what it feels like, right? Wanting to be seen and wanting to have control over others and thinking or feeling that you are better than other people who are the enemy. Again, not about making anybody's life better. For Rebel HQ, I'm Chris Williamson. We'll see you next time.